Zero gas! All glide. Our stickman rolls into a sleepy suburb with a bike, a skateboard, and a pair of legs that believe in physics more than willpower. A tiny HUD floats. Speed, cadence, gradient, and an energy bar that drains politely instead of catastrophically. Today's rule! Spend joules like they're rare coins. We'll trade roll and resistance for distance, swap posture for lower drag, and time our effort where it buys the most. The commute becomes a puzzle-less fight, more flow and momentum as the main character. First habit. Smooth starts. From a dead stop, he nudges the pedals like he's whispering to inertia, not punching it. Short strokes, quick cadence, body relaxed. The HUD rewards him energy bar barely dips, while speed rises. He avoids the hero sprint that spikes the bar and stalls 10 seconds later. Momentum loves patience! Get to a comfortable cruise. Then hold it with featherlight power. Every gentle start saves watts you'll spend on the bridge ramp instead of the rolling resistance is the slow tax you pay for touching Earth. He checks tire pressure with a grin. Too soft, and the sidewalls need the asphalt like dough. Too hard, and the bike chatters, losing grip on the sweet spot depends on tire width and payload, not feelings. He aims for firm but forgiving, then picks lines like a billiards player. Smoother pavement, shallower angles, fewer sharp turns. The HUD shows the bar sipping instead of gulping. Silence is savings. Cadence is the bike's language. He keeps the pedals spinning faster than his worries, somewhere in the easy-to-breathe zone. Too low and every push feels like a leg press. Too high and he turns into a blender with no torque. He shifts early to stay in the talk and ride gear, treating hills like volume knobs, not emergencies. When the wind nudges, he trims cadence a hair, not posture. The result: speed steadies, knees smile, chain sings without drama. Skate time? Pushing a board is like negotiating with friction armed only with rhythm. He takes long, relaxed pushes, stands tall between strokes, and lets the wheels coast. Sidewalk seems get treated like waves, sets knees soft, ankles loose, impact absorbed before it bounces back as wasted wobble. He picks the lane with the least grit and the widest turns. The HUD energy bar barely notices because coasting is free and scraping is expensive. Skate smart, not loud. Walking is the control experiment. He shortens strides just enough to keep hips from rocking, plants under his center of mass, and lets arms swing for balance, not bravado. Head forward, gaze at the block ahead so micro adjustments happen early. Shoes matter. Flexible, forefoot, and a sole that doesn't sponge energy with every step. The HUD marks his pace as smooth, heart rate steady. Walking well is shockingly fast when you stop arguing with the sidewalk. Aerodynamics! The invisible bully. On the bike, he folds into a mild tuck. Elbows in, shoulders narrow, back flat enough to slice air without turning into a yoga demonstration. He lowers his head only as far as he can still see potholes. The HUD drag arrows shrink. Speed holds at the same power. He resists baggy jackets that flap like flags, roots straps tight, and moves a bulky backpack lower on the spine. Air hates clutter. He stops offering it. Crosswind alley appears, flags snapping like snare drums. He leans subtly windward, keeps elbows soft, and stays off the deep front wheel. Daydream heel by later. The tuck becomes asymmetric. Knee on the windward side, edged in. Torso a touch, rotated to keep the front stable. He shelters behind parked cars without weaving, then returns to the shoulder like a polite metronome. The HUD gust icon pulses, but the bar stays civil. Control first, pride never. Bridge. Ramp today's boss fight. He starts early in an easy gear. Cadence high, power modest, breathing on beat. No surge at the base. That's where legs lie to you? He sits still, upper-bodied quiet, counting 10 smooth rotations at a time. Midspan? He stands for 8 strokes to change muscle groups, then sits before form leaks. The HUD gradient icon brightens. The energy bar dips slowly. Crest in sight. Don't sprint the top. Keep one sip for the wind on the far side. Downhill is where savings compound. He tucks gently, opens the chest only enough to breathe, and lets gravity buy back seconds. Brakes, feathered, early, and brief heat, his power exiled into the pads. He looks far down the curve, so micro adjustments happen before tires panic. The HUD speed number climbs, but the energy bar pauses, appreciative. Free velocity is a gift with conditions. No sudden inputs, no surprise pebbles, and eyes translating curves into quiet hands. Suburban four-way stop. Momentum roulette. He times the approach, so he arrives just as it's his turn without a complete stop almost. Not quite, because traffic law likes its respect. He downshifts while rolling, 1 click per 5 meters, cadence ready to pick up again. The energy bar barely sips. Starting from zero is the commute's most expensive sport. He plays the light with anticipation, reading the cue, not scolding it. Civility and timing beat Wattbrute every day. BikeFit is free speed in slow motion. Saddle height. Places knees in a power arc, not a squat. Bars at a reach where shoulders drop, not shrugged. Shoes aligned, Sony's track like trains, not street art. He checks these in a storefront reflection because mirrors also fix physics. When form is neutral, the chain feels shorter, the road feels flatter, and the HUD shows the same speed at less perceived effort. Comfort isn't a luxury. It's an efficiency hack. Maintenance as momentum insurance. Tires properly inflated, chain clean and lubed so it whispers, not hisses, bearings greased enough that wheels spin for the length of a good joke. He wipes the braking surface, knocks grit from the cassette, and aligns the rear wheels straight in the dropouts. The HUD doesn't cheer, but the energy bar drains slower, and the headwind becomes a rumor. You don't need ceramic futures when basic present tense runs smooth. Cargo physics! The sequel nobody asked for. He loads heavy items, low and centered in panniers, not on a high wobble tower. On a backpack day, he cinches the pack tight so it moves with his back, not against it. He plans a route to pick groceries after the bridge. Not before, because a kilo costs more on the climb than on the coast home. The HUD slope icon agrees. Logistics are just physics with a calendar. Micro, drafting de Garu edition. He rides at a respectful distance behind a bus or a delivery van when traffic allows, far enough to brake safely, close enough to let air do less violence. The energy bar thanks him like a tiny accountant. When the vehicle peels off, he pre-leans into the returning wind, adds 2% more cadence, and avoids the surprise wall. Draft savings are rented, not owned. He gives them back gracefully when the bus departs. Skateboard tuck as chorus reprise. He lowers his stance. Front foot angled, back foot hovering for a light break if the slope fibs. Hands behind hips, shoulders narrow, gaze far. He avoids pushing in the tuck. One clean push at the top, then let the hills sing. The wheels buzz a key that says just enough. The HUD, drag arrows melt small. He rounds the corner wide, not sharp, preserving speed like it's the last chocolate at a meeting. Feet again, because sidewalks are democratic. He chooses the shady side at noon, the windward side when flags point one way, and the smoother concrete when the city forgot how to pour. He steps over expansion joints like punctuation, not interruptions. At a long light, he rocks on heels to keep blood moving, then launches with a half step, not a burst. The energy bar loves walkers who plan 2 corners ahead. Turns out, pacing is prophecy. Evening, headwind, classic morale tax. He shrinks the frontal area. Jacket zipped, collar down, knees tighter in the stroke. He chooses the leeward lane edge, where hedges shave turbulence and keep speed steady instead of He counts breaths to the next mailbox, not minutes, to home. The HUD drag arrows pulse but smaller than before. The bar drips, not drains. Headwinds lose more to stoicism than heroics. Physics respects a quiet spine. Night mode is battery mode. He runs the front light on a medium, rear on constant, and aims the beam slightly down to avoid lighting the Milky Way instead of potholes. Reflective bands add a halo that costs nothing. He keeps the display dim and mind bright. Fewer sprints, more rolling green lights. The HUD dims its vanity metrics and centers the energy bar like a gentle scoreboard. Distance remains distance. Effort becomes optional taste. Home stretch! He soft pedals the last block to let legs file their complaints gently, coasts into the driveway with brakes cool, and parks with tires off cold concrete. The HUD fades with a satisfied sigh. Energy bar, above expected, time within reason, mood improved by free speed. 0% gas, 100% momentum, he says to nobody, because momentum was the company all along. Tomorrow's commute is already cheaper. He just taught the roots some manners.